Hey everybody, Arizona attorney David Enevoldsen here, and in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about where to file your divorce when the two parties to the divorce live in different states. Now there's a couple different things you have to consider. Specifically in this video we're going to talk about residency, personal jurisdiction over the parties, and the children. Now let's start with residency because that's kind of the easy one. With residency, all you have to do is have one of the two parties, as a threshold matter, has to have been living in the state of Arizona for at least the last 90 days. Now, if you don't have that requirement, you kind of don't even get through the door, and you have to wait until somebody's been here for at least 90 days. If that works, however, then the next question we're going to be looking at is personal jurisdiction. Now, let's talk about that one with an example. Now, let's say we have a man and a woman meet each other, of course, fall in love, decide that they're going to get married. And after they get married, they've decided that they are going to live in the grand state of Arizona. So they set up their marital residence there. Everything's fine. They're living, working, doing whatever they need to do. And then the inevitable, at least in my line of work, happens. They get into a huge fight. They break up. And they decide that they need to get a divorce. Well, prior to getting a divorce, one of them decides, well, I'm going to stay in the marital residence, or maybe they even move to another location nearby, but they stay in the state of Arizona. And the other one says, you know what, my family is in, say, Texas, and Texas is the only place I know anyone. I have no support network here. I have nowhere to go other than this marital residence, so I'm going to leave and I'm going to go back to Texas. So now you've got one spouse in the state of Arizona, one spouse in the state of Texas. And now that we're going to turn around and go file for divorce, where are they supposed to file? Now in Arizona, keep in mind this is a little bit of an oversimplification, but the general rule of thumb that you're going to be looking at is where was the last state of marital residence under Arizona law. Now again, remember that marriage and divorce are state-specific issues. So if you're trying to get a divorce in a different state, they may have a different set of rules. But the general set of rules for Arizona is that you're going to look at the last place where the marital residence occurred. So in our example where we had Texas and Arizona as the two places, in that situation both parties were living in the state of Arizona. One of them left and went to Texas. So even though they're now living in different states, the last place of marital residence in that situation was Arizona. Therefore, the parties should be filing in Arizona. Now, keep in mind that anytime you have personal jurisdiction issues like this, you can waive them. So that is to say that if you had that situation with one spouse in Arizona and the other one in Texas, if both parties said, you know what, I want to agree that we're going to file for divorce in Texas, as long as you're meeting all of Texas's requirements, that's fine. But if you're fighting over it, you might have some problems there, and probably the appropriate state would be Arizona. Now lastly, the last piece of this whole equation is involving children. And again, this is a little bit of an oversimplification, but the general rule with children is that you're looking at the last 6 months of where the children have been residing. So if Arizona has been their home state for the last 6 months, then presumably you should be in Arizona. That's one of the key questions for children. That also can get a lot more complicated, but that's the basic idea. So we've got three major things that we're looking at for purposes of where to file. One is residency. Second one is personal jurisdiction, particularly if there's a dispute between the parties about where they should be filing. And the last one is children, making sure that you've got them in their home state.